No podemos estar así.
We can't stay like this. It's inhumane. We are living like dogs, and the truth is that I don't know what we are going to do.
Welcome back. As thousands of Central American migrants arrive en masse at the U.S.-Mexico border, President Trump threatened to shut down the entire southern frontier. Meantime, the mayor of Tijuana says the 5,000 immigrants camped within his city have created a humanitarian crisis. Critics say Mexico's government has thus far offered minimal support. The stalemate has prompted Mr. Trump to renew his call for full funding of a border wall and triggered hostile statements against so-called, quote, Obama judges who have suspended multiple executive orders, including recent restrictions on asylum claims. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Tony. What's your read on what's going on there? What's the solution?
Man, where do we start? I mean, how about this? Let's start on a high point. I hope that the new Congress, which is led by Democrats, can sit down with the Republican-led Senate and come up with real laws that have a real impact in the real world. Because all Trump wants to do is chase boogeymen. If he wasn't full of it and lying about catching bad hombres, he just wants to catch brown people. That's what bad hombres means. Because if he really wanted to catch criminals and thugs, he would be talking about how El Chapo, who escaped from Mexico twice, has not escaped from the U.S., is on trial right here. They're treating that like a nuclear terrorist attack in New York. He hasn't talked about that once. Why? Because he doesn't want to really get real bad guys. He wants to scare people in Iowa about Latinos. Worse, he's not talking about right now Chief Acevedo and Turner. They had a big press conference where they've caught MS-13 gang members who chopped up an informant. Someone wanted to tell on him. That he's not talking about catching them. You know why? Because he doesn't care really about us, about safety. He really scares us because no cartel member in the right mind would tell America months ahead, hey, I'm coming in. You know, I'm at the border. Have your army there to meet me.
Leave the lights on for me.
You know, exactly. He's out of their mind. I hope that people wake up and get real immigration reform.
Warren Fawcett, Tony brings up a good point. Now with the Democrats in control of the House, is it the stage set for immigration reform? Do you think both sides would be willing to talk?
If the Democrats are willing to talk, I think yes. President Trump put out a couple pretty good proposals last year that got rejected in the Senate. So I think there's some groundwork for it. On the caravan, the question I have is, how can you be seeking asylum and fleeing a country when you're carrying the flag of that country or burning a U.S. flag? That's just something that I've seen images, and so that's a question that I'd like answered on that.
What do you think about a shutdown of the border? Is this just part of the game, part of the propaganda?
I think it's just like you said, part of the game. I think that right now we're playing a game of cat and mouse. Make sure you keep moving the finish line so that the brown people and the black people that want to come in from whatever country and seeking asylum don't ever reach the goal. I think that maybe instead of the fear-mongering that the GOP has been able to do and President Trump has been able to scare Americans into thinking that there's an imminent threat of harm, they're really treating all of these people like they're all El Chapo. Well, here's the thing about El Chapo. We heard last week in his trial that they're not going over walls, they're going underground. He's got over 5,000 miles well-lit territories to be able to get into the United States. I think that one of the things that people are getting images of, like you said, that you saw images of somebody burning the American flag, or you see other people that are doing other things that make them feel like they're not for this country. But here's the thing. You're seeing images of men. You're seeing images of men being arrested. You're not seeing the women and the children that are standing in the food line that are in Tijuana, that are waiting to get fed.
Great point.
You're seeing a country in crisis, and you're also seeing a situation where you have all of the men and women. And if you do send your child to the United States of America to seek asylum, and you send your 14-year-old daughter by herself on a caravan full of men, then maybe, just maybe, you are fleeing persecution. Maybe you are fleeing from the cartels who want your daughter to be a drug pusher or a mule. Maybe, just maybe, there should be a separate line for the women and children to go separately to seek asylum. If there's a caravan full of 1,000 men and you've got 500 women and children on there, maybe there should be a separate line just for them, for families fleeing domestic violence. But right now we don't have a solution to the problem, and maybe we need to explore our options on the Democratic side.
Okay, we're going to switch topics now. Immigration reform and health care will be key issues in the U.S. House of Representatives, where Nancy Pelosi continues her problematic quest to return as Speaker. An insurgent group of Democratic House members are withholding their support, demanding new leadership and an end to gridlock on issues like immigration and health care. And critically, This week, Pelosi picked up a very powerful Republican ally who pledged to ensure her victory.
There's nobody else should be Speaker. Now, that doesn't mean for 100 years, but certainly they should start off with Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. And I already have a lot of votes. If she needs any votes, if she asks me, I will give her the votes to put her over the top.
Democrats now control the House, so repeal and replace is off the table. David Balat, I wanted to ask you about this. What can this Congress do to make the situation better for Americans seeking lower cost available health care?
I hope they can work together because both parties have been great in the minority. The Republicans wanted to repeal and replace, and they voted unanimously 7 times and couldn't get it done. The Democrats have been anti-Trump and pro-ACA, and Nancy Pelosi at her victory speech said, let's hear it for pre-existing conditions. They don't care about the American people. They're using these for political tactics, and it's an absolute shame. What we need to do is we need to work on what some real solutions could be, working to repeal the Safe Harbor Act so that we can reduce the cost of drugs through these pharmacy benefit managers in the pharmaceutical industry. Making healthcare about the doctor-patient relationship again, and not about all these middlemen that are sucking the profit out of the industry. We have taken this away from our communities, and we have taken it from the local level and put it way far in the federal hands, and that's just inappropriate and wrong.
Okay, Tomaro Bell, as you watch Pelosi's move, you think it's time for new leadership, or is she the steady hand they need?
The fact that Trump is endorsing her so hard makes me really question this whole process. I'm not kidding, because all during his campaign, she was the devil incarnate. So I'm telling you, I said it last week, and I'll say it again. We need new leadership. We need somebody from the top to the bottom. We need new leadership. The country has a whole another set of mind because of the last 2 years. When she was in office, you had so much fighting and big. Obama he was just like Trump. When he came in, he had the House and the Senate. They didn't do a damn thing. It took them 24 months to get to the health care, and they pushed it through. And I will not lie, there are things in Obamacare that need to be removed. But the mindset of it all to ensure those uninsured was phenomenal. It was great. But I think we need somebody thinking outside the box. And I don't believe she has that kind of mindset. I'm happy to hear. What is bothering me is the multiple Democrats who want to endorse her, too damn scared to come out and say, well, you know, I really don't want you in.
Finish this up, Bill.
You know, David and I were talking before the show, and we said we've got 2 great minority parties. I mean, can either one of these parties govern and come up with some real policy changes? And I think it's going to be really interesting to see if the Democratic Party takes the high road and really goes off and tries to solve some of these and puts forward and passes rational, compromise legislation, or if we spend the next 2 years investigating Trump. And if they go that route, I think they're going to end up not doing well in the 2020 elections, because people are sick of this stuff.
Yep.
I mean, they're just sick of it. They want somebody to actually do something. And by the way, the exit polling shows that the pre-existing condition was probably the most important issue in flipping from the Republicans to the Democrats. And so, look, give us some policy solutions and not more partisan bickering.
Okay, hold on.
That's
I got to
right
say,
there.
for you two Democrats to say that all of a sudden, or you independent person.
Yeah, wait a
to
second.
say that Nancy Pelosi all of a sudden, oh, healthcare is in a sham. I mean, the way that you're speaking.
I didn't say that about her.
No, what I'm saying is you're making me feel like maybe you think that Nancy Pelosi was not the right girl for the job to bring affordable health care to us.
Not at all. I didn't say that at all.
Hold on, y'all. We got to go to break. We'll come back in just a second. Up next, what you think actually matters. Feedback from What's Your Point viewers when we return. We talk about healthcare again.
So you don't think that